the I, the L, the J, the I, the M, the Y, little Jimmy. What's up, everybody? It's your man, little Jimmy. Welcome to Got a Question. And I got Mr. James Morrow Jr. What's up, Mr. James?
How you doing, little Jimmy?
Man, I'm doing great. Man, let me tell you something about this guy. He's awesome. He does a lot of things. He's real tall, too. I didn't realize how tall he was. He's real tall. Can you dunk? Anyway, we got a question. Appreciate you. I know that you're a candidate running for superintendent, state superintendent, statewide. You coach, you teach. Like I said, you're tall. I don't know if it's appropriate for me to say that you're not ugly. I don't know. Got a question.
What is it, little Jimmy?
Can I be like you?
No, little Jimmy. I think you'd be better off if you just stick to doing what you're doing and just be yourself, little Jimmy. That's the best thing for you, to be yourself. You work with kids, you ride, you do a lot of things in the community, so just stick to doing what you're doing, little Jimmy.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
And I got a question.
Okay, little Jimmy, what's up?
What is it like to run for an office as high as superintendent for all of the state?
Well, little Jimmy, there's a lot of work goes into it because, I'm not just trying to represent one area, it's the whole state. So Savannah, all the way to Decorah, Statesboro, Columbus, it's basically the whole state. So it's a lot of work. And in the past month, I put over 4,000 miles on my vehicle going different places and doing candidate forums and debates. So it's a lot of hard work, but I believe I can handle it. And I know how to multitask and get things done, little Jimmy.
Well, got a question.
What's up, little Jimmy?
Because you're so tall, does it seem like the other candidates don't size up to the job?
That's funny, little Jimmy. But yeah, a lot of the other candidates, they're very short, and they always look up to me. So I feel like, they need to look up to me. And once I win this election and become state superintendent of schools.
That's for sure. Wow. That was a tall answer. Wow. So, got a question. So, where was the most nervous that you felt? Which one of the forums did you feel most nervous at?
The very first one, because the first one are always the ones that you have the butterflies and you just try to stay focused and stay calm and make sure you answer the questions and don't embarrass yourself. So the first one, and I've done like 10 now, so I consider myself a veteran.
Well, so what's got a question. What's the most embarrassing moment that you've had so far?
I really haven't had an embarrassing moment yet, little Jimmy. I believe I've been smooth with everything I've had to do when it came to this election and answering questions either from my opponents or from the people that was over the forum. So, nothing embarrassing yet, little Jimmy.
Well, I know this is going to be a weird question, but got a question. Was there ever a moment that you kind of felt bad for one of your opponents because they were kind of stumbling or whatever? Have you ever felt bad for them?
Well, when we had a live debate on PBS and Georgia Public Broadcasting, and I asked the dentist what makes him feel like he's qualified to be the next state superintendent of schools, since he's never been a teacher, he's never been in the classroom, and throughout the whole time he just did a bunch of rumbling and rambling, but he never answered a question. So I kind of felt embarrassed for him, and I saw the sweat popping up on his forehead and on his nose. So I know I kind of caught him off guard with that question. But if you're a dentist running for state superintendent, you should have been prepared. I mean, I wouldn't wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I decided I'm going to be a dentist today, and I need to go pull some teeth or do some bridges or some crowns. But you got to be trained for this. And I've been trained in education since I was 22 years old. I'm 47 now. I have a master's degree in secondary education with an emphasis in social sciences. And I'm a teacher. So I feel like, I'm in the trenches, I'm on the front line. Teachers can relate to me and I can relate to them, and I know how they feel and I know what they want done.
Well, maybe it's safe to say that getting that dentist to answer the question was like pulling teeth.
That's a good one, that's a good one.
Wow! So, got a question.
Okay.
So, how many people are running for the same position?
All right, well, on the Democratic side, which is the side I'm on, you have Alicia Searcy, who's a former state representative. And you have Jahar Howard, Dr. Jahar Howard, who's a dentist. And you have Curry Hutchins, who's a former teacher for 2 years, and now she's an attorney. And on the Republican side, you have John Barge, who actually held the position from 2011 to 2015, but he resigned to, well, he didn't run for re-election because he wanted to run for governor, in which he lost that race. And then you have Richard Woods, who's currently been the state superintendent for 8 years, and he's asking for another 4.
Wow, so it's like a total 5 and 6, including yourself?
Yes, yes.
Wow,
yes.
that's cool. Got a question.
Okay.
A lot of people, they run for things or they do like what you're doing, and sometimes if they don't win or anything, they feel like they weren't successful. You don't seem to come across as that kind of person that's a quitter or anything like that. So how much of that non-quitting attitude goes into a race that you might win or you might not win?
Well, I think that comes from being a two-sport athlete. I ran track and played basketball at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And I'm resilient, you know. I refuse to lose. I mean, if I do lose, I consider it as a learning experience, which will prepare me for next time. But I believe I'm going to win this time around, but if I don't, I will be coming back in 4 years, and I will have a plan, and I will do better. But I believe that, you know, there's 130,000 teachers in the state of Georgia, and I believe 100,000 are going to vote for me.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a lot. Got a question. What do you teach in school?
All right. Well, I just switched to physical education when we came back from Christmas break. But before that, I was an economics teacher. I was an advanced placement United States history teacher, advanced placement human geography, American government, U.S. and world affairs, and world history teacher. I taught all social studies subjects from 6th all the way to 12th grade, so you know I know my stuff.
So you hecka smart, huh?
That's what they say.
Wow, that's amazing. Got a question.
Right.
How much enjoyment did you have as a history teacher in a time like this?
Well, for the past 2.5 years, you know, COVID put us behind. So when we were teaching virtually, you know, I had a lot of students that they would log in just for roll call, but then after that they would turn their camera off, and it was hard for them. It was hard for me to get them to turn in work, and I had to spend a lot of time calling parents, or maybe even having a Zoom conference. But it's been very difficult since COVID has hit, and again, the kids are behind. And you had a lot of students, you know, they might have been failing classes, and our administrators asked us to show compassion and just pass them on. So, you know, you might have a kid that might have a 30 or 40, but they end up with a 70%, which I really didn't agree with that, because I feel like you're setting these kids up for failure when you just give them grades. Another thing I don't like is in middle school, when middle school teachers are forced to give kids 50% just for putting their name on the paper, and their rationale behind that is whenever the kid decides to do work, he won't be so far behind. But my thing is, in the real world, you don't get a full check for doing a half day's work. So, you know, I feel like we're setting these kids up early for failure by allowing them to get away with the things that they get away with, and there's no consequences for their actions.
Wow. I hate to say this, but your honesty, boy, might be getting you in trouble. But it seems like that you have a love for the kids, for the young people, or the children that goes way beyond just being in a school.
I have a genuine concern for the well-being of all my students, and I want to see all of them be successful. And as Clayton County States, we're preparing kids to be successful in a global society. But in some instances, I don't feel like we're preparing these kids to be successful in a local society, let alone a national or world society. So, you know, there's some things we got to do, but we got to find a way to make teaching appealing. Nobody's trying to be a teacher right now. There's a shortage of teachers. If you notice, in Fulton County, there's over 600 teachers shortage, and there's no way that those positions are going to be filled before the school year starts back in August. So it's going to be hard to teach children when you don't have teachers in place. And I'm not saying that children should be put first, but sometimes you got to put the teachers first, because without teachers, how are the kids going to learn?
Well, so that's your first 100 days on the job as the new state superintendent. What does it look like?
The first 100 days, we're going to make sure that we have more discipline in the classroom. I would like to create a rule or a law where if a student is suspended, say you suspended for 5 days, little Jimmy, but yeah, I tell your parents, I let them come back after 1 day. No. Well, that depends, but I'll let you come back if your parents are willing to come and shadow you around all your classes for an entire day, eat lunch with you, walk the halls with you, because I feel like parents have to have some accountability. And if they have to miss work, or if they have to use their off day to sit around with their child, I feel like they're going to turn up the discipline and they're going to make their kid do right. As long as kids get away with things and there's no consequences and their parents are not held accountable for some of the things they do, we're going to continue to have a problem. We're not going to fix anything in the schools until we have discipline. Without discipline, you can't be successful in anything, Jim.
Well, yeah, because just you using me as an example of getting suspended for 5 days, you see me getting a whooping out of you. I'm a bad example, but I feel you. So, got a question.
All right.
Which one of your opponents did, if it's not all of them, makes you feel that if you were to not win, which one of your opponents do you see that might have a chance of being successful based on what you've been debating about and seeing about? And if the answer is 0, I understand. Which one?
I would say probably Alicia Cersei. Simply because when she was state representative for 4 years, she was on the committee for education, and she created a lot of laws and bills. In addition to that, she was the head of a charter school, like the CEO/superintendent of Ivy Charter School. So she has experience with education. She hired principals, she hired teachers. So if I wasn't in the race, I would probably vote for her, because I did vote for her 5 times when she ran for state representative, and we used to be neighbors in the same subdivision. Our houses probably was like 30 or 40 yards apart from each other, so we've known each other for over a decade, so it would probably be her.
Wow. And the reason why I ask a question like that, because a lot of us think that you're supposed to just hate, just not like opponents. And what it sounds like is that you have respect, probably for all of the opponents, but you're looking at it from what's the best thing for the kids in the school system standpoint.
That's what it's about. It's all about the children. Like the dentist, he's been on the Cobb County School Board for 2 or 3 years, so he understands a little bit, because he creates policies for teachers, as far as what they can and can't do. But the fact that he hasn't never been a teacher, I have a problem with that, because how can you lead 130,000 teachers when you've never been one? And like I said, with Miss Cersei, she was like an administrator, the head of a charter school. And my other opponent, Curry Hutchins, or is it Hitchens? I think it's Curry Hitchens. She taught for 2 years, and then she went to law school, and she basically fights for children when they get kicked out of school. She filed lawsuits against the school district, and right now she currently has lawsuits against the Department of Education. So, but I feel like people need to stick to what they know. You want to see me going in the dentist's office trying to clean the teeth. You want to see me going in the courtroom trying to plead the case. And I wouldn't be at the Capitol trying to create a bill. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm a teacher, and I've been doing this all my life. I've been doing this since I was 22, and I'm 47 now. So I got 25 years in the game.
That's what's up. Well, first of all, it's been a pleasure to have you on Got a Question. And this is the part of the show where you get to ask me a question, but you gotta say got a question. If you don't, I'm gonna ignore you.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So when you finish with school, little Jimmy, what is going to be your goal, or what do you see in your future that you're going to be successful in once you grow up and become an adult?
I want to continue to positively impact people's lives. I want to be honest. I want to be creative. I want to be encouraging. And I just want to continue to just encourage our young people, encourage all of the people to just start, stay, and finish. Always positive. And I'm going to do that until I can't do it no more.
All right, now Jimmy, sounds good to me.
Yeah, cool. Hey, you know my man, coach from the hood,
Yeah,
Mr. Hill, right?
Yeah, I know Coach Hill.
Who's the better basketball player? I'm sorry, got a question. Who's the better basketball player?
He got skills, but as I recall, I'm a little bit younger than him, so I mean, you know, I can move probably a little bit better than Coach Hill, but we both can shoot, you know what I'm saying? I'm still dunking. I don't know if he's still dunking or not, but I'm still dunking, and you know, we both PE teachers, and we play with the kids and hoop with the kids, so he look like, you know, he about 9% body fat, so he been working out and doing this thing.
Wow. Now, Coach is a great guy, man. He's one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, along with my pastor and, you know, other people in my life, Coach is one of my favorites.
I've been knowing Coach Hill for like 16 years.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, thanks again for being on Got a Question. Hey, congratulations with your race. And you will be the best man in the room.
I appreciate you for having me there, Jimmy.
See you guys later.
The L, the I, the L, the J, the I, the M, the